Hey there, and welcome to Sheer American. In this video, we are going to be reviewing the Quince Co Puffin Yarn. This is a thick roving style yarn made with 100% American wool. I love to see that. This hank is in the color Storm, and the whole hank has 100 grams totaling in about 112 yards. They recommend using a US size 10.5 or a US 13. And like most of the 100% wool yarns that we use, it is hand wash on cool, lay flat to dry, grown, spun, and dyed in the USA. When I ordered this yarn, I had no real plan for what I was going to do with it, and I still don't really know. The yarn itself, although it is nice and puffy, the roving style makes the wool feel a little bit itchy, although it is still soft, but it's also stiff. I have noticed that it's easily felted together. I think this could be a really good yarn if you're making like some detail work on a felting project, like a needle felting project. But I do want to see how it works up crocheted. This style with this nice big halo is something a lot of people enjoy. I don't always like that, but let's see how it looks. As far as a roving style yarn goes, this yarn is really strong. I've seen a lot of roving yarns that just feel like you can pull it apart, and this one actually puts a red mark on my hands before snapping, which is a good sign. I like to see a yarn that is nice and solid because most of the time I make wearables and I don't want anybody to get a rip. I'll just be going in with single crochets to get a good baseline for what this yarn looks like worked up. Okay, I used my hook to work up a swatch that was roughly 4 inches by 4 inches. It took me a total of 11 single crochets across and 12 rows. After working up this yarn, I am beyond impressed. This yarn is super strong, unlike a lot of those roving style yarns that I've seen, and it works up pretty smooth. The only thing that got a little frustrating was while I was working with the yarn, I did notice that it's not the most consistent spin, and I think that's just because it is loosely spun, it's single spun. It's going to be a little bit less consistent. But if you look, as it goes through my fingers, this section is just ever so slightly thicker. Might be hard to see on camera, but this mild little looser spinning or this tuft where there's a bit more yarn does mess you up while you're working with the yarn. It makes you have to plan for the tension of each stitch rather than just going for a universal tension. It's a minor thing. It's definitely not going to make this yarn a never purchase for me. I do like this yarn a lot. I think it would be great to make like a nice cozy blanket with it, or even a big chunky cardigan, because if you're not too sensitive to that wool feeling, this yarn is nice, plush, and warm. Overall, I'm going to give this yarn a 5 out of 5. It's a roving style yarn, which generally isn't my favorite, but somehow it sold me on it. I think that's impressive, and with a roving style yarn, I think it really picks up all of the things that you want out of it. It's got a good halo, it's nice and strong, and it's really warm. It's not like it's fluffy and airy, it's plush, and I really like that. When I do use this yarn, I think I'm going for a blanket, but what would you use to make? Let me know in the comments down below.